What's up, y'all? It's your boy Tevin Jameer back at it again with another episode of the Hate It or Love It podcast. And today, as y'all can see, it's another power episode. I basically said that in my last episode that this next one would be about power, but I originally wanted to do like a reaction to the premiere of season 4 of Ghost. But this week, I completely forgot that it was the 10-year anniversary of Power this past Friday. So I know this is more late, but it's better late than never. So in order to celebrate the 10 years that we have of the Power universe, I wanted to do my top 10 WTF moments of the whole Power universe. So I'm somewhat taking a page out of Rudy P. Magic. If you guys watch his channel, he covers Power a lot on there. I'm somewhat taking a page out of his book because he does weekly like WTF moments from the episodes. But for this episode, I wanted to do like a WTF moments of the whole universe. Like my top 10 moments that made me go like, what? That actually happened? So one thing about me, if you guys been subbed to me for a while, or even if you know me personally, I love Power. It's one of my favorite TV series of all time. I'm talking the original, but just even the whole universe. Like I love the whole universe of Power. And I would say that the original Power is my second favorite show of all time, right underneath Boy Meets World, which I know that's a crazy, like, difference from 1 and 2. But yeah, like Power, it was just, it's just an amazing show, and it's a show that I rewatch a lot. Like I'm currently rewatching the original Power again, and right now I'm in season 6. And the thing about me is that I love to rewatch the whole universe. So like I'll watch the original Power, then I'll go like timeline order between like Ghost and then Force and then, stuff like that. So, even when Raising Kanan completely ends, I'm still going to do like a whole rewatch of the whole universe, and I'll restart with Raising Kanan, lead into the original Power, and then, back and forth between Force and Ghost. But that's just something I like to do because I love this universe. And, before I really get into it, I do want to say, if anybody, in the rare chance that anybody from Power is watching this, I want to thank you guys for the amazing content that y'all been giving us for the past 10 years. Omari Hardwick, Michael Rainey Jr., Gianni Paolo, Joseph Sakura, 50 Cent, Notori Naughton. They're just Leela Loren, Courtney Kemp, especially since she is the creator of Power. Like this universe really would not be a thing without any of you guys. And, there's a whole bunch of actors and actresses involved in the Power universe. So that would be like a whole episode in itself, naming everybody. But, just anybody that had played a part in the world of Power, I just want to thank y'all because y'all made amazing content that been able to last for a decade and that me and a bunch of other fans get to talk about every week and be hype about. So, thank you to everybody involved with making Power possible because this is literally some of the best television I've ever seen. And when I talk to people, I always try to put people on the Power. So, yeah. But enough talking, let's get into it. So like I said, the criteria is that it has to be within the Power universe. I know a lot of people like to, extend things out to the 50 verse with like BMF and stuff like that. But no, this is just strictly the Power universe. So if it took place in the Power series or the spinoffs, then that's what I'm counting. Also, this is my top 10. I know there's other shocking moments for other people, but just to say this, I'm someone that can predict a lot of things that happens in shows and movies, and some of the things that doesn't crack the top 10 for me were things that I've probably already seen coming, or it's like, yeah, they actually did it, but I'm not really that surprised that they did it. Like I could have kind of seen this coming. So yeah, with all that being said, before I get into number 10, I do want to talk about some honorable mentions because, like I said, there are things that are not in my top 10 that I know people are going to want acknowledged. So here we go. My first honorable mention is Vic killing Walter. When this happened in Force, I'm not too surprised. Like the only thing that somewhat surprised me was that Vic was the one to do it, but I wasn't surprised that Walter and Paulie died when they did. Cause like, if you've seen the original teaser for episode 5 and just even how the storyline of season 2 of Force was going, it seemed kind of obvious that the two were going to die at some point. Like in the season. But yeah, I'm not too surprised that they died. And even with Vic, even with the surprising factor that Vic was the one to do it, ultimately I still wasn't that surprised because, Walter kind of caused Gloria's death, which Gloria was Vic's love interest in season 1. Walter kind of, caused that to happen. So of course Vic was going to get revenge at some point. And then one thing in the Power universe, they love to do the parallels of sons or fathers killing the other. So it just kind of made sense that Vic was going to do it at some point. But yeah. The next honorable mention is Famous killing Freddy. Now, this was surprising to see Famous catch a body, but ultimately it wasn't too surprising because you got to look at who Famous surrounds himself with. Now, I know there's a lot of people in the game that never, catches a body or nothing like that, but this is the Power universe. If you're associated with anybody in the Power universe, at some point you are going to catch a body. And I know there's some outliers like Angela, but she was still involved with a couple of murders. Like, she was calling it, and she was also making sure that some people died. So in the world of Power, unless you're completely innocent, like unless you're a completely innocent person like Arena or Lauren, like, you are not going to be involved in no murder. I mean, unless you're one of those two, you're going to be involved in a murder or you're either going to cause that murder. So, Famous getting his first body is really not that surprising to me because it's just like, well, look who he surrounds himself with. Now, the real twist is if Famous was to keep catching bodies, like in the future in the series, I don't think it's going to happen, but that's why it would be so surprising to me. Like, if Famous actually went on in season 4 to catch another body, that would be surprising. But Famous catching one body just wasn't too surprising to me. Next is Nicole's death, keeping along with Raising Kanan. This one wasn't too surprising because at some point, like I said, unless it's very rare for an innocent to even get out alive in the Power universe. So I kind of knew that Nicole was going to die at some point. And also you got to keep in mind, Raising Kanan is a prequel to the original Power, and Jukebox and Kanan, they didn't have anybody really that close to them in the original Power. So it's safe to assume that most people in Raising Kanan are either going to die or they're going to meet a fate where they're never going to talk to Jukebox or Kanan again because of what we've seen in the original Power. So at some point we knew Nicole was going to die. The only thing that made it an honorable mention for me is the fact that it happened as quick as it did. Like, I at least thought that Nicole was going to last for season 1, but for her to die, if I can remember, at like episode 5 of season 1 was kind of crazy to me. So, it wasn't surprising that she died, but it's just surprising how fast it happened. But, the next one, and this is one where I feel like I'm obligated to talk about it, but I'm really not that surprised that this even happened, was Tariq killing Ghost or shooting Ghost, however you believe, whether Ghost is still alive, just Tariq shooting Ghost at the end of the original Power. So the reason I say that I'm not too surprised that this happened, first off, when Ghost got shot in episode 10, before he even got shot, I remember watching the episode for the first time with my friend Corey, and after he was talking shit to Rashad Tate, I turned to Corey and I was like, bro, Ghost is gonna get shot in this episode. I just know it, because the way he's running his mouth to everybody, ain't no way he's leaving this episode untouched. Then when he did get shot, it wasn't surprising to me that he got shot. Now, they were trying to set up this whole Who Shot Ghost series, and in my opinion, I said that it would make more sense story-wise if Tasha was to do it, but I remember talking with my dad before, like, a couple weeks before the episode came out, and before the last 5 episodes started, and me and him was talking about who we believe was the one that shot Ghost, and I literally said, I feel like it would make more sense if Tasha did it. And he said, I feel like it's Tariq. And I was like, I do too, but I feel like that's too obvious. Power is usually a series where they throw twists and turns at you. And I feel like Tariq is just the safest option because out of everybody that they listed, he hates Ghost the most out of everybody. So I just felt like it was too obvious. And of course, they went with the obvious option. Now, 50 did leak, different scenarios. Like, they showed Tasha being the one to do it. So I guess maybe they really did have like different endings filmed just in case they wanted to do something different. But let's keep it real. It was pretty obvious that Tariq was the one that did it. I was hoping, story wise, I was hoping that they would go with Tasha because, like I said, that just made more sense to me. But ultimately, they went with Tariq, which was very fucking obvious. Now, this other one is one I also feel like I'm obligated to say, but, you know, I wasn't too surprised when it happened. Proctor's death. So the reason I wasn't surprised is Proctor was literally about to fucking snitch on Tommy. And I get it. A lot of people were sad when Proctor died. I'm not going to lie. I was sad when Proctor died. I like Proctor's character. But for people to sit here and like act like they were in disbelief that he died, like there was so many people, even my girlfriend at the time when I watched the show, she loved Proctor's character. And she was like shocked that Proctor died. And I'm just like, we are watching the same show, right? Like Tommy was like, he was literally about to snitch on Tommy and he had the intention on staying to snitch on Tommy. So of course, if Tommy gets wind that somebody is going to snitch on him, the first thing he's going to do is, you know, take him off the board. So, well, Tommy back then, if you watch Force, then you know that Vic ain't off the board yet, but at that time Tommy was reckless. So if he got even just a little inkling that you were going to snitch on him, he was going to pull up. So it wasn't really too surprising that Proctor was going to die. And then besides, one thing that Courtney Kemp said is in the Power universe, you have to earn your death. Now, of course, as time went on and she stopped, you know, being the primary showrunner for Power, I wouldn't say that necessarily everybody that dies earned their death. But in the original Power, that was a show where, like, if you did something, you earned your death. And once Proctor signed those papers to, you know, snitch on Tommy, not only that, but also when he let his wife die, or his ex-wife die right in front of him, it was kind of written right there like that he's gonna go. Like, you can't just do something like that in the world of Power and not expect to die next. So, you know, Proctor dying, it didn't really shock me, but I feel like it's something that I had to mention because I know that's probably going to be on the top of other people's list. But all right, y'all, let's get into my personal top 10 shocking most moments in Power. And at number 10, I have Ghost and Maria. I can't put one event into it. I have to count the whole storyline because, like, okay, one thing about me, and I can't stand this when it comes to people when they talk about TV shows, but this is a reason why I love Power, is for me, when I talk to people about TV shows, they always say like, oh, season 1 is kind of slow, but you kind of got to get into like season 2 and then the show is going to pick up. I'm someone where I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and waste my time watching a whole first season in the hopes that a show will get better in season 2 or 3. I need the show to hook me right then and there. I'm not saying that I need something completely outlandish and crazy to happen, but at least show me something that's going to make me stay. And when they showed Ghost running the nightclub and then he had to go to the garage of the nightclub to handle Maria's boyfriend, and he actually let her live, that was one of the coldest introductions I've ever seen to a character. Like, Ghost completely was a normal dude. You could tell he, you know, did some things, but he was a completely normal dude until it was time to switch into Ghost, and he went up to Maria's boyfriend, and it was still one of the coldest. To this day, that's still one of the coldest lines I've ever seen in a TV show, where Maria's boyfriend was like, I'm not afraid to die, and Ghost was like, I'm not afraid to kill you. Because, yo, me growing up, I always watched so many gangster shows and action shows where people be like, I'm not afraid to die. And that was like the first time where I heard somebody say, okay, and I'm not afraid to kill you. And then he just did it. Like, yo, that was one of the coldest openings I've ever seen. And not only just that, but for the longest, Maria didn't even play a factor after Ghost let her free. And then at the very end of season 5, when you just see a random scene at a diner and she recognizes his voice, that was crazy. Because, like, I've completely forgot about Maria. I didn't even think about her. And then they bring her back in season 5 just to show, like, oh, she's going to be a problem next season. But here's why her and Ghost storyline is only going to stay at number 10. Because I feel like they teased her in season 5 to be something in season 6. And I feel like they completely dropped the ball in season 6. Now, yes, they had a scene with her and Ghost meeting, and Ghost was gonna pay her to, run off before she snitched. But the fact that Tommy just literally just killed her off like that, like, I feel like she only had like literally 2 or 3 scenes in season 6. Like, they were hyping her up a little bit in season 5 just for her to, just go away so quickly and easily in season 6. And for me, even though I love Power, I do always say that season 6 had a lot of flaws, and that is where the flaws kind of came in, was Maria, kind of being underused. But all in all, that still shocked me. And I'm not just going for like how good the shocks were, but it's also just the fact of, did it really shock me? And did I see it coming? Because I did not see Maria making a return coming. And while I feel like she was underused in season 6, it was still cool to see her be called back and still see her play somewhat of a part. Because one thing I love about shows like that is when they can bring elements from earlier seasons and bring them back in, later in the series or at the end of the series. It just kind of makes the story go full circle. So regardless of whether I felt like she was underused, it was still nice to see an element from the very first episode be brought back into, later into the story. At number 9, I have Dre surviving the hit and showing up to Ghost at Raina's gravesite. So in the premiere of season 5, one of the coldest scenes was, Dre approaching Ghost at Raina's gravesite. And that was just a crazy moment to me. Because my thing is, it's not really shocking that Dre survived or nothing like that, but it's just shocking that you approach the dude that is trying to kill you at his own daughter's gravesite, and you slip the Jimenez card right into his sleeve. Like, that was one of the, as much of a bitch as Dre was, I gotta admit, that was a pretty gangster move. Like, that shit was crazy, and I still remember watching it. I still vividly watching it the very first time, and I was like, oh shit, I'm not gonna lie, Dre's a bitch, but that was a G moment. Like, that was fucking crazy. So yeah, Dre surviving the hit and approaching Ghost at Raina's gravesite. I don't know about anybody else, but that was one of my favorite Dre moments, and that's just one of my favorite moments in the Power universe in general. At number 8, I have Ghost and Kanan teaming up to save Tariq. So in season 3, Jukebox wanted to, extort Ghost by kidnapping Tariq, and then she wanted to kill Tariq and Ghost, right then and there once she got the money from Ghost. But Kanan, if you watch the show, then Kanan had a lot of love for Tariq. So he wasn't going to let Tariq get harmed. And, Kanan and Ghost still had their issues. So wait, was it season 3 or season 4 that this happened? I don't remember, but y'all know, basically, actually, I do believe it was season 3. I think so. Yeah, I think so. But okay, that aside, basically, y'all know that Kanan and Ghost had their issues. So to see Kanan actually, let the issues go in order to save Tariq was a crazy thing, in my opinion. And then even after he shot Jukebox, he still was contemplating shooting Ghost right there. But then he was like, nah, let me just get the money and I'm out. Like, that was just a crazy moment, in my opinion. And I know the more shocking thing in that scene was seeing Kanan kill Jukebox. I wasn't really too surprised by that, but it was just more the fact that Ghost and Kanan could put their differences aside to save Tariq. So yeah, that was a very shocking thing, in my opinion. At number 7, I have Lauren surviving in season 3 of book 2. So one thing about me, up to that point, when the Star's Instagram would put out the RIP post, I seen that as basically like the Bible. Like, basically, if they put out a RIP post, that person is gone. They're never coming back. And with Lauren, at the end of season 2 of Ghost, they literally put out a RIP post. And I would see people like have theories that Lauren was still alive. And I'm like, nah, bro, I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. Because if you watch Ghost, now, okay, I guess the only thing I could say is if you didn't see a body, especially in the Power universe, of anything that Power and horror movies taught me, if you don't see a body, then they're not really dead. But my thing is, even if I don't see a body, if I see a RIP post from Stars, then I believe it. And that was the only reason I really believed that Lauren was gone, because they made a RIP post. But, you know, the way that it was shot, I guess it does make sense that people still believe that Lauren was still alive. But for me, I strictly believe she was dead. And just to see that she, you know, was still alive in season 3. And unlike Maria, she actually still played a part in it. Like, they revealed that she was alive, and she still played an active part in season 3. Hell, she is the reason why most of them aren't in jail right now in season 4 of Ghost. So I was glad to see Lauren alive. It was definitely shocking. It was definitely a twist. And Paige Hurd did an amazing job. Like, because while they were filming season 3, everybody else was posting behind the scenes stuff and things like that. But Paige Hurd did a really good job at keeping her damn mouth shut. But one thing I will say, though, is that if you watch the Crew Has It podcast, the new showrunner for the show did say that they were actually contemplating Lauren for real being dead. So he said that last minute they decided to change it for her to come back. So in a world, in another world, Stars would have been right to put out that RIP post. But I'm glad that they did see the opportunity in keeping her alive and keeping her in the story for a little bit longer, because I definitely feel like her storyline also helped with season 3 being as good as it was. And this isn't part of it, but I will say that it was also shocking to see that Lauren actually got a pretty good ending, or as of where we are in season 4 of Ghost. In my opinion, I can't see her coming back. Some people say that they can see her coming back into season 4, but I personally can't see Lauren coming back. I feel like once she got rid of that burner at the end of season 3, I feel like that was the last time we're ever going to see Lauren in the Power universe. So, you know, I'll say this. Just in case Lauren doesn't come back in season 4, or, you know, whatever show they make after Ghost, whatever they do in the future of Power, if that was really the last time we were ever going to see Lauren, it is also very shocking to me to actually see her get somewhat of a happy ending, to leave and to never be involved in that life again. So, like I said, in the world of Power, most people are either going to die or get locked up. That's just kind of the ending for most of these characters. So when a character actually gets an ending where they're still alive and, you know, they can go on to have a better life, it is very shocking and very rare to see. So if Lauren doesn't come back and that was the very last time we see her, that's going to be another shock in its damn self that Lauren even made it out of the Power universe alive. So yeah. At number 6, I have Ray Ray killing Raina. Now, I know this would be higher on other people's lists, but in my opinion, the only reason that this wasn't shocking for me is because it was kind of spoiled for me. This episode came out around the time, so yeah, season 4 was going on when I first started getting into Power, because my cousin and my friend, they were both telling me about Power and stuff like that. And me and my cousin was talking about it again the summer that season 4 came out. And I was like, you know what, man, let me just watch the show for real. So I'm binge watching seasons 1 through 3. And because, you know, I'm starting to interact with Power pages on Facebook, because I'm starting to interact with like other Power stuff on Twitter and YouTube, you can imagine that the night that Raina died, that every Power fan page that I was on was constantly showing me that scene. Yes. So in the middle of me, and I think I was in the middle of season 2 when that episode premiered. So I was in the middle of season 2 watching Raina just be a normal fucking kid, and then I just see her gets clipped when I go on Facebook randomly one night. And I was like, damn, now that got spoiled for me. So yeah. That's really the only reason that it wasn't too shocking, because it was something that was kind of spoiled for me. But the reason that it still makes the list is just the fact that, you know, and they talked about this a lot during the time that the episode came out in interviews and stuff like that. And a lot of gangster movies and TV shows, and even in real life, a lot of gangsters live by the code that kids don't get touched. Like, you know, in a lot of media, you see that kids don't get touched. They allow the person to live if they see them out with the kids and stuff like that. But in Power, and Courtney Kep even said this, with the death of Raina, anybody can go at that point in the series. And them killing Raina really did prove that anybody could go in the world of Power after that point. Because if Raina went, the very next season, Kanan went, and it's like, yo. And even Angela went the very next season. So the death of Raina, I felt like really started a lot of the crazy things that we've seen in the second half of the series of Power. But just also the fact that kids normally don't get touched in shows and movies like this. And the fact that they had the balls to do it is just like, yeah. Whether that was spoiled for me or not, just the idea of them even doing that was still shocking in itself. So yes. And not to mention, Raina is easily the top 3 saddest deaths in the whole Power universe. Like, even with all these new shows where we see people that don't deserve to die, or that was, fan favorites dying, I think it is very safe to say for most Power fans, we all still consider Raina's to be top 3 saddest in the whole universe. So yeah. And number 5, another character that I feel like was sad and that, kind of showed that anybody can just go at any point. D-Wiz's death in season 1 of Raising Kanan. So here's why D-Wiz's death shocked me so much. Not only for some of the same reasons that I said for Raina, like Raising Kanan already proved how gritty it was just from the very first episode, but for D-Wiz to die in the second episode literally shows that like anybody in Raising Kanan could get knocked off the board at any given moment. But here's why D-Wiz's death was so shocking to me. Because in season 1, granted, we really only had 2 episodes with D-Wiz, but in episode 1, they gave D-Wiz an introduction, and he's shown that he was going to be Kanan's right-hand man. And just in episode 1, like when everybody else was scared to make the move on, I forget who Kanan killed in the first episode, but when everybody was afraid to make a move and stuff like that, D-Wiz was the first one to be like, hey, yo, I got some guns at the crib. We can go see him right now. So it's just like, D-Wiz really being down for it and just getting knocked off the second episode was just crazy to me. Like I kind of expected him to last a little bit longer, especially a character like that, because like if anybody is gonna die that quickly in the Power universe, it's either gonna be an innocent or a villain. But for them to kill off somebody that was built for the game like that in episode 2, it was just shocking. So yeah, it's just the fact that I think I speak for a lot of Power fans. When we watched Raising Kanan for the first time, we did not expect D-Wiz to go that fucking early. Like that early is crazy. So yeah, that's why he's at number 5. At number 4, I have Brayden saving Tariq. Now, if you guys want to know my thoughts, my full thoughts and opinions on that, you guys can watch my Power episode from last year called This Episode is for Power Fans. I think that's what the episode was called. But at the end of season 3, when Tariq was ambushed by everybody, Noma, Kane, Drew, Diana, Effie, like when he was in Noma's warehouse and everybody had their guns at him and they were all talking about, Tariq, it's time for you to go. Man, here's why this was shocking to me. Because my thing is, at the beginning of season 3, I was telling people like, yo, Brayden is going to prove himself this season. I said Brayden is finally going to get his first kill this season, and he's going to shoot at Kane. And I remember somebody said to me, they were like, nah, Brayden is not like that. Like, yeah, he might get his first kill, but he is not like that to shoot at Kane. Like, nah. And I was like, are you sure? And I was so happy at the end of season 3 when I was proven fucking right. Oh my gosh. Cause Brayden came in, boom, boom, saving Tariq, and the first person he shot was Kane. And if you seen that season 4 premiere, Brayden fucked Kane up, like not too badly, because he was still beating ass and chasing after people and stuff like that. But the fact that he had this man bleeding out throughout the whole episode was crazy. Yeah. So I was hyped to see that, but here's the main reason that it shocked me. So like I said earlier, I'm someone where I can, predict how things are going to end and how things are going to go. And I guess you could still make the argument that I somewhat did predict, this happening. But my thing is, when I watch a movie or a show, I love to not be right. I love to be in situations where I can't predict, what's going to happen. Because in that moment where everybody was surrounding Tariq, I really was sitting there thinking while watching it, like, yo, how is he going to get out of this? I can't imagine how he's going to get out of this. And they set it up perfectly to where Brayden said that he's done with the game and he's done with that life, just like a couple of scenes right before that. So you're not even thinking about Brayden in that moment. So I'm just like, bro, when I was watching it for the first time, I was just sitting there like, yo, how is Tariq going to get out of this? Because I don't see no possible way he can. And then next thing you know, the lights cut off and Brayden starts sending shots. Oh, man. So that is easily a top 5, most shocking moment for me, because I just did not see it coming. I just did not see Brayden coming in to save him last minute coming. And then the fact that Brayden got the tip from Obi, oh man. So just season 3's ending of Ghost had to be one of my favorite endings to any season of Power, just in the whole universe. That's got to be up there. Though personally, me, number 1, my favorite season ending is still season 5 of the original Power, because Tommy killing Angela like that, y'all should have seen how I was the first time I seen that episode. I could not believe that ending, but no, it's not on this list. So yeah. So at number 3, we have Tasha killing Lakeisha. Okay, so my thing is, I knew Lakeisha was gonna die at some point. I knew Lakeisha was going to die. So that's not the shocking part. The shocking part is Tasha killing Lakeisha and the fact that that's Tasha's first kill. So one thing that I don't like Tasha's character, if I'm being honest. I really do not like Tasha's character. She's very annoying to me, or at least in the original Power, she was very annoying to me. Now, don't get me wrong. I hate what she did in season 1, trying to pin Ghost murder on Tommy in the beginning of Ghost. But I will say that in Ghost, Tasha is a lot more tolerable. Granted, she's in the show less, so of course she would be more tolerable. But, she's a lot more tolerable in Ghost. But in the original Power, I did not like Tasha's character. And one of the criticisms that I had for Tasha's character was that she don't really get her hands dirty or nothing like that. And I mean, yeah, in most gangster media, the wives, they're not really meant to get their hands dirty, or most times they really don't. But my thing with Tasha is, I always used to say, like, all she does is nag and annoy people and get on people without getting her hands dirty at all. And in season 6, when she finally got her hands dirty, it was still the most snake bitch thing she could have ever done. Oh my gosh. When she killed Lakeisha, you would think that it would make me happy that she finally got her hands dirty. But my thing is, I guess this was a case of be careful what you wish for, because I wanted to see Tasha finally do some action. And when she finally did it, it was the most snake bitch thing I've ever fucking seen. Now, I have gotten into debates about the whole Lakeisha thing and whether Tasha was, justified in doing it. Here's my thing, because people like to bring up Proctor when I say that Lakeisha should have still been alive and that I don't think she would have snitched. Because when I say that, and you know how I felt about Proctor, because I said it earlier, people also say, like, oh, how can you feel that Lakeisha didn't deserve to die, but you feel like Proctor earned his death? And I was like, here's the thing. You got to look at the intentions. And for Lakeisha, I guess it's still up for debate. I guess we would have to ask Courtney Kemp or one of the writers if ultimately Lakeisha still would have snitched. But from everything that I've seen, Lakeisha was planning on running away. Like, Proctor's intention was to stay and snitch. Like, he purposely stayed at Ghost's place in order to, stay back and snitch, while Lakeisha was just waiting for Tommy and Cash to get home so that she could run off with Cash and probably talk to Tommy about it. But ultimately, to me, I feel like Lakeisha wasn't going to snitch. So that's why I felt like, and ultimately Lakeisha did deserve her death because she was trying to be in a game that she really wasn't built for. But I feel like her being accused of trying to snitch was not what she deserved to die for. So in that, I just felt like, damn, Tasha, you are really a snake fucking bitch. And that just kind of made me hate Tasha even more. So I still don't like Tasha to this day. Do I ultimately still feel like she deserved somewhat of the happy ending to killing Ghost? Yes, because at the end of the day, I feel like I'm a fair person. But did she deserve to kill Lakeisha? No. I feel like she did not deserve to kill Lakeisha. If Lakeisha was going to die, which I'm fine with her dying, but it's like she should have died another way. But for it to be from Tasha's hand, that was the most snake fucking bitch thing ever. And that is one of the things I can never forgive Tasha for. Like, killing your best friend over something that you weren't even sure they were going to do is crazy. Like, that is just crazy. But you know what? I'll give Tasha this. Like I said, my main problem was that she never got her hands dirty. And I'll give Tasha this. She got her hands dirty. If I can give Tasha any credit, she did what she had to do or what she felt like she had to do. And even in season season 3 of Ghost, where she was the one that shot Monet, I actually give Tasha credit for that. I actually had no problem with Tasha shooting Monet, because you gotta look at it in Tasha's point of view. She believed that Monet was the one that sent Tommy after her and her family, and basically gave up the location. So there is times where I can justify, as much as I don't like Tasha, there is times where I can actually justify how she feels and the things that she does. But her killing Lakeisha is just something that I cannot justify. I just can't. And I know somebody in the comments are probably going to argue with me about it. Like I said, I've had debates about it. I promise you, I'm not going to keep debating about this shit. I'm still going to feel like Lakeisha did not deserve to die by Tasha. And Tasha is still a snake bitch for doing that to her own best friend, who's always had her back throughout the whole show. So yeah. Then number 2. Damn, a lot of these really happened in season 6 now that I'm really like thinking about the list. And at number 2, it's Tommy versus the Italians. And the reason, and I know this is a moment that doesn't really get talked about a lot in the grand scheme of the Power universe, but the reason that I see it as a shocking thing is, first off, let's keep it real. And I had this talk with one of my coworkers recently, because he loves Power too. But I was like, bro, let's keep it all the way fucking real. At the end of season 6, when Tariq sent the Italians to distract Tommy so that Tariq could get to Ghost, it is very hard to believe that Tommy, in real life, this is the Power universe. So, in Power, okay, it's plausible. But in real life, a whole car full of Italians, it was like 4 or 5 Italians coming after Tommy. 4 or 5 men could not kill Tommy on his own. Like, Tommy was literally outnumbered. And if I can remember, he ran out of bullets at one point in the fight, didn't he? Or something like that. Tommy was outnumbered. He did not have the upper hand, and he still managed to take out the whole car of Italians. That is fucking crazy. So that's why it's shocking to me, because it's like, in real life, that would not fucking happen. But also, when I did watch the episode, I did believe that Tommy was actually going to die right there, because you got to think about it. In season 6 of Power, that is the last season. There was no announcements of spinoffs. The only thing that we knew was that Joseph Sikora, before season 6 even premiered, he did say that Tariq was getting his own spinoff, but nobody else was guaranteed a spinoff at that point. So at that point, it was very plausible that Tommy could have died right there. And it also doesn't help that in other interviews and stuff like that, Amari Hardwick and Joseph Sikora said that they both said that they did kind of think of an ending where Tommy and Ghost was going to die together. So it's just like, hearing all this stuff and, with the context that we only had at that point, it just seemed very plausible that Tommy was going to die at that moment. So to see Tommy actually survive is shocking in his own self, but it's also the fact that, like, man, when I first watched that scene, I was like, damn, bro, Tommy might actually go. And, as crazy as Tommy is, as about that life as Tommy is, and at some point he is going to go, like they basically tease that at some point he is going to meet his face. This is fate. This is the Power universe. So everybody eventually meets their fate. But Tommy, at that moment, it's still, even when Tommy meets his fate later in the Power universe, I'm still going to be sad. So it's just like, in that moment, I was genuinely afraid that Tommy was going to die. And that's why that whole situation was so shocking to me. So yeah. Not only that, but one of my gripes with season 6 was that Tommy still survived, and then when he was asked about it, he said, like, I think Tommy and Tariq talked about it, and later Tariq said, like, I knew they weren't gonna kill you, like, I was just using them as a distraction. It's just something like that where I'm just like, all right, like, come on now. So it was just the writing in that conversation where it's just like, all right now, like, in real life, that wouldn't have just been a distraction. In real life, Tommy would have been gone, and that would have been another body on your hands, Tariq. But yeah. And then at number 1, I know a lot of fans still don't bring up this death, but in my opinion, this is still the most shocking death in the Power universe, and just the most shocking moment in the Power universe in general. And that is number 1, Kanan killing Sean. Yeah. To this day, that is still the most shocking death, in my opinion, of the whole Power universe. But here's why. So, Sean, I didn't like his character. I'm going to just say that out front. I could not wait for Sean to fucking die. Like, throughout most of the first 2 seasons of Power, I wanted Sean to go. I said, Sean is a bitch. I don't like his character. I wanted Sean to go. I was counting down the fucking moments for it to happen. But here's why the death is shocking. Because I was not expecting it to be from Kanan's hand. That was the most diabolical, cold, heartless thing I have ever seen. And you know what? Maybe, now that the Power universe has gone on, it's kind of a common thing for sons and fathers, or just really parents and kids, to kill each other in the Power universe. It's just a very common thing. But I think that was the first time they ever did it in the Power universe. And personally, that was the first time I ever seen it in a show or movie that I can remember, where a parent or a kid killed the other. And it's just like, yo, that shit was... I knew Kanan had a problem with Sean, but I didn't think that was how he was going to resolve it. Like, that was fucking cold. I actually thought that Ghost was going to kill Sean, but when Ghost let Sean go, and Sean went to go confront Kanan, I actually thought Sean was actually going to run off out of the city. But just to see Kanan turn the gun on him and be like, yeah, you're not my son, and then just pop him in the head, it was just like, yo, that shit was fucking crazy. And then what makes it even more shocking is it's no surprise, if you're a fan of 50, it's no surprise that 50 and his oldest son kind of have problems with each other. And a lot of people are saying that the whole storyline with Sean and 50 was kind of like 50 living his fantasy of, doing what he really wants to do to his son in real life. So I'm not going to imply whether I'm not sitting here implying whether I believe 50 would actually do that to his son or not. All I'm saying is that it really doesn't also help if you know the real life situation between 50 and his son. So seeing that play out in Power too is just like, what the fuck? So yeah, like I said, I was happy to see Sean die, but I was really thrown for a loop that it was Kanan the one that did it. And even if you want to talk about the repercussions that came down the line for Sean's death, Tariq, as much as he loved Kanan, he still allowed Kanan to, get killed. Like, he basically set up Kanan to get killed because he still didn't feel like it was right for what he did to Sean. So even though that was a crazy scene, and it's probably the craziest moment I've ever seen in the whole series of Power, it's just like, even in the long run, just the repercussions of Kanan doing that to Sean even led in other crazy moments where Tariq double-crossed Kanan, and that's something I didn't even expect Tariq to do. So yeah, that would just... man, that will forever. The Power universe is still going. They're still raising Kanan. We're still in the final season of Ghost, and just from the first episode of season 4 alone, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot more crazier moments to come and stuff like that. So I'll just say this. As of right now, of me recording this episode on Sunday, June 9th of 2024, that was so excessive, me saying all that. But as of this very moment of me recording this episode, Kanan killing Sean is definitely, for me, the most shocking thing that happened in the Power universe. So I don't know what's to come in the future. You know, we still got the rest of season 4, which I still believe Ghost is going to show up, and I still believe that Ghost may still be alive. But we still got the rest of season 4. We still got the rest of Raising Kanan. We still got the rest of Force, and we still got Power Origins that's supposed to come on next, the origin story of Ghost and Tommy. So you never know, man. There's just a lot of moments for the Power universe that we still have yet to see, that I know that if I was to do an updated version of this list would eventually make the list. So who knows, man? Maybe in 2 years, maybe like years down the line, maybe during the 15th anniversary of the Power universe, I'm gonna do like an updated list for this. And well, that is if I'm still a YouTuber by then, because, your boy becomes a famous director. It's going to be kind of hard to fit in the schedule, But, all right, y'all. But yeah, down the line, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot more shocking moments. But yeah, these were my top 10 shocking moments and the honorable mentions. I know that a lot of Power fans somehow gravitate or flock to my videos, even though I don't really consider myself like a Power YouTuber, or I really can't consider myself a Power YouTuber because I don't talk about Power that much. But a lot of Power fans do find their ways to my videos. So if you guys sat through and listened to all the top 10 moments, let me know what some of your shocking moments. I know some people will agree and disagree with some of my moments. So, I mean, if you feel that way, let me know down in the comments. Just don't be an asshole about it. But yeah, man, let me know what's some of your shocking moments that probably I didn't even have on the list. Here's the thing, though. Even if it didn't make the list, it's not like, a lot of the stuff in Power isn't shocking. Because like I said earlier, Power is a show that does have twists that a lot of people don't see coming, even twists that I don't even see coming. Like, one thing that I did consider putting in the honorable mentions that I didn't put in was Mike working for Lobos in I think it was revealed in season 2 or 3 of the original Power. Mike Sandoval working for Lobos and being his his mole, and the police officer, or and the people that I forget the name of the division, but basically the people going after Lobos and Ghost. Mike Sandoval being, his mole, like that's something that was very shocking to me when I first watched the original Power. Mecha, wait, yeah, was it Mecha? Yeah, Mecha basically starting everything in the Power universe, the one that snitched on Lobos that led Angela to being into the club that night, which was revealed in season 2 of book 2. That was another shocking moment. So it's not that I left those out intentionally, but it's just like, for me, I'm only counting the moments that personally made me go like, yo, what the fuck? So yeah, like I said, if y'all watched this far, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and, let me know what some of your favorite shocking moments in the world of Power. And it might not even have to be your favorite, because some of these moments aren't my favorites, but it just, what shocked you? And let's, just have a talk about Power. Because like I said, man, like I said at the beginning, 10 years of this franchise is crazy. And, it's just a franchise that I want to get more eyes on. And it's a franchise that I like talking to people about. Because one thing about Power, I feel like it's the type of show where when you hear people's opinions on it, you kind of get to know who they are as a person. Because that's just kind of what Power, the type of show is. Because one thing I said to my friend Corey that I love about the Power universe is that really, all in all, there's certain characters that you root for, there's certain characters that you hate, but at the end of the day, most of them are literally pieces of shit. Like, in real life, I would not like somebody like Ghost. In real life, I would not like somebody like Tommy. But in the context of Power, I love them. And with a show where everybody is a piece of shit, it's kind of like the characters that you gravitate towards the most kind of lets you know, like, okay, these are the type, like, you're this type of person, and this is the character that you can see their side of. But the one thing I love about Power is it's one of those shows and franchises where whether you love or hate that character, ultimately you can still see their point of views. You can see why they make the decisions that they make. Because like I said, I fucking hate Tasha. I don't like Tasha's character. I'm still mad that she didn't die last season in the last season of Ghost. But can I at least see where a lot of Tasha's decision making goes, and can I understand why she does the things she does? Yes. And I'm over here getting in a full tangent about the philosophy of Powers, but yeah. All right, y'all. Like I said, let me know down below what y'all think. Let me know some of your most shocking moments. And also, sorry to not say this at the beginning of the episode, but if you guys want to know my quick thoughts on the premiere of season 4 of Ghost, that episode was fucking crazy. When Mark Dark said that this was going to be like a GTA, mission, he was not kidding. From beginning to end, that episode was full of nonstop action. So yeah, that's my quick thoughts. And yeah, let me know how y'all feel down below. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. I hope y'all enjoyed the episode. And with all that being said, Tevin Jameer signing out. Catch y'all on the next one.